ABC Sports presents from sunny, warm Orlando, the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, featuring Tennessee out of the Southeast Conference at 9-2, and the co-champs of the Big Ten, the Northwestern Wildcats. A capacity crowd of over 66,000 on hand to witness the Wildcats. The crew from Evanston, Illinois, led by Pat Fitzgerald, the human roadblock, who sets the boundaries. He marks his territory and dares others to cross the line. And Peyton Manning, he knows no boundaries. He's living out his football fantasies with every toss, dreaming of his next assault on the defense.
Dream on, dreamer, life is in your way. Dream on, dreamer, life is in your way. Boundaries, territorial dispute. Boundaries, they said he had a job to do. No question, no hands here, just move the truth and move it. No compromise. No compromise.
Let's shoot us some more.
The stage is set with a couple of prominent juniors, one of them this man, Peyton Manning. Could this be his last collegiate game? And for Northwestern, Darnell Autry. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Could this be his last game? And a major story developing as we speak. Downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Well, Mark, we've just learned that Darnell Autry will not start in today's game. He may not even play in this game. Autry is one of 15 Northwestern players stung by the flu bug 2 days ago. Coach Gary Barnett, visibly upset just seconds ago, told me that he believes Autry is so weak he doesn't even think Autry will play in this game. And guys, obviously that will be a big blow to Northwestern.
John Spagnola, a major story just breaking moments ago. How does this affect Darnell Autry?
Well, you know, it's hot and humid to begin with today, so you have to worry about dehydration, Mark, with the entire football team. Now you got somebody who's sick with a fever. That means he's dehydrated to begin with. You know, it could pose a serious health risk to Darnell Autry if he played today, and it could hurt his football team.
Autry, a major cog in Northwestern season, all season long, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. How does it affect their offensive game plan?
Well, you know, really, it doesn't affect their offense one bit. They run the football. They like zone running plays. They're going to use Adrian Autry. No relation to Darnell in the football game today. He had one start this year, and he gained 128 yards. He was Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Doesn't change one thing they do. They're going after a beat-up defensive line for Tennessee.
Time for the understudy to shine. That's him, Adrian Autry. They face adversity all year long. We'll see how they answer it today.
More than 7 million Americans trust their retirement savings to Fidelity.
Number 2 or number 10? 13.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl. We are about to set the kickoff. Northwestern lost the toss and will be kicking off to Tennessee, who will receive.
And Tennessee electing to receive that kickoff. And look at the temperature. It has been unseasonably warm for the last week. Humidity 60 degrees.
Yeah, we've been down here for a couple days, Mark, and it has been very hot and humid today. Certainly the most humid day that we felt this week, and that adds to the Darnell Autry story.
A look at Gary Barnett, the fifth-year head coach of Northwestern. He has become the standard by which coaches who are rebuilding their programs are measured by. A look at his magic in 5 seasons at Evanston, Illinois. Back-to-back Big Ten Coach of the Year. His counterpart on the other side of the field, Philip Fulmer, another 9-2 season in the books. They've won 42 of his 51 games during his tenure. He is understated and low-key, almost to a fault, some of his critics say. Goins kicking off. Mark Levine at the 4. And he's brought down at the 14-yard line. That is where Peyton Manning and the Tennessee offense will start things off. Manning, the first Tennessee quarterback to pass for over 3,000 yards in a single season. He's tall and he's lanky and he sees the field extremely well, John.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's got about the best technique of a college quarterback that I have ever seen. Of course, his father is Archie Manning, and from a very young age, this man learned to play football, learned to play quarterback, and aspired to be a major college quarterback.
1st and 10 for Tennessee from the 15-yard line. Jay Graham, the single back. 4 wide receivers out on the set. Little waggle action. Manning on the money on 1st and 10. Complete for the first down out to the 28-yard line. A 13-yard pickup to Peerless Price, number 37, tackled by Josh Barnes. A look at the backs and receivers. Number 11, his name prominent today. Joey Kent, top-notch receiver. And a look at the offensive line. They underwent a lot of changes up front, John.
They sure did. Trey Teague was the starting left tackle. He's now the starting center. Robert Poole, who's at left tackle, you see him there, did begin the season at right guard. They've been banged up and moved some people around. They think they have this unit down now.
And into pass, his intended receiver falls down at the 39-yard line. And it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Let's take a look at this Northwestern Wildcat defense. The strength of the defensive unit is their front 7. There's a look at the first 4 in their 4-3 set.
Matt Rice is a guy who plays on the center. Pat Fitzgerald, of course, defensive player of the year in the Big Ten, 2 times running. A secondary, Mark, this secondary is going to be tested today. Gerald Conaway, number 11 there, is getting his first start at corner. He's a redshirt freshman, and Tennessee is going to be going after him early in this game.
Northwestern coming on the blitz. Manning eluding the pressure. Decides to take it himself, and Manning is tackled at the 34-yard line, about 4 yards short of the first down, by Tim Sharp, the 6'1", 243-pound senior, their drop linebacker. Sharp is a guy who has benefited from the tutelage of Pat Fitzgerald, number 51. The 2 of them are roommates, in fact, on this trip at the Florida Citrus Bowl.
I think you can see the offensive game plan unfolding early for Tennessee. They want to take advantage of what they think is a thin secondary for the Wildcats and throw the football early and often in this football game. You can see 3 pass attempts so far. Of course, Manning ran on that play, so it was a running play. They want to try and wear out this Wildcat defense.
Got to get to the 37-yard line for the first down. 3rd and 3 out of the backfield in the flat, complete to Graham. He's got room to burn and speed to burn. Knocked out of bounds finally at the 41-yard line by Josh Barnes. A pickup of 23 on the play, and they are moving the ball early.
Right, what? Pat Fitzgerald, number 51, he's going to come right through on a blitz, untouched. Manning gets rid of the football. 2 guys that we saw in our opening today, 2 guys who spent a lot of time together this week, are finally, going beyond the bounds of friendship now and getting after one another a little bit. But look at how Manning hung in there, and I think he throws the short ball extremely well. He had James Graham on the run. He was able to turn the ball upfield and make some real good yards out of that play.
Yeah, real good pace on that pass. Just underway here in the first quarter. Manning 2 of 3 so far for 35 yards. Audibling at the line. A 4 wide receiver set again. He's got a man in the seam on the post. Touchdown Volunteers. He's Peerless. Price. 43 yards, 6-0 Vols.
And he was going against Gerald Conaway, the redshirt freshman, who's getting his first start. Hudayfa Ismaili is out. He was suspended for breaking team rules of marijuana use, actually. And Peerless Price goes past his substitute, Gerald Conway, on just a go route. Peerless Price, with all the great speed, he leads this team in yards per reception, averaging 19 yards per catch. He certainly added to it there.
That's a pretty healthy total. Jeff Hall now in for the extra point. Tennessee striking early with less than 2 minutes gone here in the first quarter. The extra point is good. Guys from Tennessee jumping out to a 7-0 lead early in Orlando. We'll be right back.
Title when they battle the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, next on ABC Sports.
Welcome back to Orlando, where Tennessee is ahead 7-0 over Northwestern. The opening drive they score, but Dean Blevins from the sidelines with a later development than we heard earlier. Darnell Autry expected to not start, perhaps not play. He will start the ball game, guys, so You know, adrenaline does wonderful things sometimes. We'll see how long he can go, but it's been a flip-flop in the last 10 minutes.
If you just joined us, thanks a lot, Dean. Autry woke up this morning, his temperature soaring up to 102 degrees. That's what you call a fever. Things complicated further by the flu. That's Jeff Hall getting set to kick off. Back deep, Josh Barnes, number 17, along with number 86, David Beasley. The Volunteers lead 7-0. Beasley at the 3. Tripped up and brought down at the 18-yard line. One more look at that last touchdown. Conaway burned on the play.
Well, one thing Tennessee wants to do is spread out their offense. You see how this whole defense is completely spread out for Northwestern. It's man-to-man coverage. Peerless Price now working on the redshirt freshman, number 11 at the bottom there. Gerald Conaway just beats him. He misses his bump on the bump and run coverage. And, of course, Peerless Price goes right by him for the touchdown. So Tennessee doing exactly what they want to do. They want the Wildcats to run all over the field today early in the game.
Conaway starting because Hudayfa Ismaili was suspended because of drug use. Autry is starting the ball game. So this story changing by the moment. First he wasn't starting, now he is. That within the last 5 or 10 minutes. And Autry gets the test early, and they swarm him back at the 14-yard line. They'll lose about 4 yards on the play. Greg King leading the convoy of Tennessee tacklers. There's a look at the starting quarterback, Steve Schnurr, completing 61% of his passes this year. He led the Big Ten in pass efficiency.
Yeah, he really upped his numbers this year by about 700 yards in passing. Gary Barnett said he's been the difference in our football team this year. He's improved that much from his junior to his senior year.
Second down and 14. McGrew and Autry in the backfield, and now McGrew lines up in the slot. Quick 3-step drop, complete to the near side. That's Dwayne Bates out to the 28-yard line, a talented sophomore from Aiken, South Carolina. Bates, number 5, in the middle of your screen. Autry, number 24. Toussaint Waterman, also good size, a physical receiver.
This is a big offensive line. They outweigh Tennessee by 43 pounds up front. Justin Shabin, all Big Ten at the right guard position. And what they really want to do is take advantage of the fact that Tennessee is beat up front. As a matter of fact, they had 2 starters on offense, Chester Ford and Dustin Moore, their tight end, practicing in a backup capacity for that defensive line at Tennessee. They were trying to wear down that defensive line.
Could be a battle of attrition today. Brown, McGrew, and Autry in the backfield on 3rd and 2. Schnurr passing complete, but it is right at the first down marker. It's going to be close. Lavelle Brown making the catch. Terry Fair, number 13, making the tackle for Tennessee.
Yep.
And a look at the defense. Part of the front 7 for Tennessee. Coleman, Duff, Buxton, and Brown up front. A lot of changes, as we just talked about. Hines, the leading tackler, with 110 this year. And in the secondary, Terry Fair is one of the top corners in the nation.
Boy, he sure is. And he'll be matched up against Dwayne Bates today, which is one of those matchups you look forward to during the course of a ball game. Let's see if Lavelle Brown was stretched far enough to get the first down. He did it, Mark. It's real short, just short.
And Schnurr pleading with the coaching staff. Yeah, they're going to go for it.
They are thinking about, wow.
Boy, with 11:36 to play, Gary Barnett.
I think he's trying to, boy, I mean, in negative territory like this, if this doesn't work out, especially keeping in mind what happened on first down, how that Tennessee defense penetrated, that could give Tennessee an awful advantage in field position early in this game. They might try to draw them offside, but then they'd lose 5 yards on a delay of game. Not quite sure about the wisdom of this decision.
Gary Barnett and his crew have been bedfellows with adversity and huge challenges all year long.
Well, they can come back from getting behind, that's for sure. They've done it all year.
Drexler, Stewart, and Autry. And now the 2 tights line up on the line. Autry, the single back. And Schnurr keeps it himself for the first down. So Northwestern rolls the dice early and passes its first crucial test, getting the first down with 11:20 to play in the first quarter.
And you know what Barnett's saying to his offensive line? This game is in your hands, fellas. I trust you here on the 29-yard line. I'm going to trust you throughout the rest of the game.
A vote of confidence for the Big 5 up front.
Sure. Nathan Strickwerda's the center. Number 63 gets a good push up front. That's called wedge blocking. That's when those guards come down, go hip to hip with the center, and Schnurr works right behind him for the first down.
A lot of seniors on that Northwestern offensive line. 18 in all on the team, making their last appearance in purple uniform. Darnell Autry stacked up at the 31-yard line by Craig King and Bill Duff. These two teams trying to work off a little bit of rust. Northwestern hasn't played since November the 16th against Purdue. Tennessee, meanwhile, hasn't played in about 4.5 weeks. Their last game, a struggle against Vanderbilt.
And both teams actually struggled in their last game, and you know, certainly the Northwestern coaches feel it's an advantage for Tennessee to only have to go a month without playing, whereas they're going 6 weeks. And Greg Meyer, the offensive coordinator for Northwestern, made a good point. He said bowl games are more often lost than won.
Musso in motion to the top of your screen. 2nd and 9. Schnurr batted at the line and intercepted. That thing bounced off of 3 players. And number 97, Buck Buxton, coming up with the loose ball. Kind of turned around and said, look what I found.
Yeah, that was as close to a pinball machine as you'll ever see a football get on a football field. Schnurr tried to throw it over the middle. It was tipped initially. Ball was tipped initially. Now, Schnurr's not a very tall guy. It didn't affect this pass, as Wilson jumped up in the air, knocked it away, and then it bounced off 2 Northwestern players, the last one being the tight end Darren Drexler, 83. Buck Buxton is there, so Tennessee gets the field position after the turnover.
First turnover of the afternoon. Manning under the snap, flags down at the 36-yard line. Lots of movement up front. We have an all-Western Athletic Conference crew.
Ball start. Number 68 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Our referee with the white hat, Bill McCabe, leading that WAC crew today.
From the WAC crew, they don't call the numbers. They do that in the WAC conference. They didn't do it here today.
Well, tonight, ABC's New Year's Day concludes with your Wednesday comedy favorites. Grace Under Fire, The Drew Carey Show, Ellen plus a special coach for our viewers on the West Coast. It starts right after the Rose Bowl on many of these stations at 8 p.m. Pacific time, all tonight on ABC. Don't forget, coming up next, the Rose Bowl National Championship implications. Arizona State against Ohio State. And then tomorrow, the Nokia Sugar Bowl from New Orleans at 8 Eastern time. Florida against Florida State, Part 2. This is Jay Graham plowing his way up the middle of the turf down to the 34-yard line, gaining about 5 yards, where Tim Sharp made the tackle, the 6'1 senior. Approaching 10 minutes to play in the first quarter. Tennessee leading 7-0. It'll be 2nd down from Northwestern's 35-yard line. And there's a look at one of the better motivators and his counterpart on the other side of the field, Philip Fulmer, in his 5th season for Tennessee. 2nd down and 9. Come back on the screen to the weak side of the field. Lane had a convoy of blockers and rolls down to the 16-yard line. Eric Lane picking up 17 yards on the play. Tennessee 9-2 on the season. You look at that 35-29 loss to Florida. That one was plausible, John Spagnola, but that loss at Memphis was a huge shocker for them.
That was the worst defeat, many believe, in the history of the school. When they lost that football game to Memphis, of course, it knocked them out of the at-large Alliance Bowl bid and hurt their chances to play perhaps for a national championship. So that second loss really hurt them. And of course, Florida's the hump game for this program right now. It used to be Alabama, and now it's Florida. They have to find a way to beat the Gators.
Manning with some impressive stats so far, looking to add to that total, firing incomplete to the man that caught the first touchdown pass, Peerless Price. Manning, 6'5", 215 pounds, and a look at his numbers. Sparkling. Back-to-back seasons, completing 64% of his passes.
Pretty consistent, wouldn't you say, from year to year? 64%, just under 3,000 last year, over 3,000. Of course, the first player to do that at Tennessee. A little higher touchdown to interception ratio this year, though. He's thrown 12 interceptions.
First quarterback in Tennessee school history to throw for over 3,000 yards. 9 minutes to play in the opening frame. Manning on the slant, complete. Down to the 10-yard line to Eric Lane once again, his 2nd reception of the game. tackled by Barry Gardner, the backup Hawk linebacker for Northwestern. It'll be 3rd down and short.
You know, when you start spreading out a defense, then you can get your back out underneath. You'll see Eric Lane here come out. See number 5, he's working underneath on an angle route on number 52, Tim Sharp. When you start spreading a defense out, throwing deep, then these kind of passes become a lot more available to your offense.
3rd and about 1.5 to go, John. They're calling it 2. They run it. And Manning keeps it himself. He stole that fake so well, everyone bought it. Terrific ball handling by Manning. Manning with an education in prestidigitation. Man, that was trickery, John.
Sure. Would you see Phil Fulmer with that sly smile on his face as he winked to one of his assistants? Nobody expects Peyton Manning to run the football. Certainly the Wildcat defense did it. Everybody's pursuing. Look, they haven't even turned their heads around yet to see where Manning was. And he just waltzes into the end zone. And it looks like Tennessee's going to be up 14-0.
Manning capping that 5-play, 36-yard scoring drive, converting on that interception. Peyton Manning.
In a national tasting of regular and
Folks, the best seat in the house today is inside the Bud 1 airship, flying overhead to bring us these beautiful shots of Orlando, Florida. There's a look at it. Nice pictures, guys. Tilt that thing down if you hear us. A panoramic view of the
You're going to scare a lot of people in the stadium and they start tilting that nose down.
A look at Peyton Manning, who arrived on campus in 1994, 6 weeks early to get acclimated, and he surprised everybody with his work ethic since. Watch more videotape. Bob Saget in the video room every single day. Jeff Hall kicking off. Drexler 5 yards deep will take a knee. Beasley takes the knee. And one more look at that touchdown run by Manning.
Just on the right side here is Casey Dale. He's a defensive end. He's a pass rushing specialist. He comes upfield and he's thinking run all the way. Everybody else is hold it there. Do you see one head turned the opposite way? Not a single player yet is looking this way to see where the football is. And of course, Peyton Manning has it, and he scores his 4th touchdown of the year rushing. Now he has negative 131 yards rushing this year. That's because of all the sacks that are charged against rushing, not passing. When you do statistics in college. Certainly a great call, though, by David Cutcliffe.
Cutcliffe refusing a few offers to coach other places, staying at Tennessee. Bates complete on the quick pro pass down to the 27-yard line, tackled by Terry Fair. Schnurr was intercepted on their last offensive series, and there's a look at Fair in the secondary from Phoenix, Arizona. Started as a true freshman and is tied for the team lead with 4 interceptions. Had 2 of them against Alabama.
But this is the experienced team for Northwestern. They've been in games behind where they've been behind by 16 points to Michigan in the 4th quarter. Came back to win that one 17-16. So they know how to play together. It's a real senior group, a real veteran group, and they believe in one another.
2nd down and 2 for the Wildcats. Tennessee blitz, and Schnurr puts it on the ground and picks it up. And they will lose on the play. Looking a little ragged early, John Spagnuolo.
Well, you know, one thing, Tyrone Hines moved up into the gap. So did Craig King, the linebackers, and they're faking blitzes right now. And I see Steve Schnurr just pulled out a little bit early, and that football went on the ground. So that disrupts a good situation. We have 2nd and short. Watch how the linebackers are walking up into those gaps. Number 44 on the left side, King. And Schnurr pulls away from center, so he loses a couple yards on the play, and they have to try and convert this 3rd down.
3rd down and 6. They've got to make it to the 30 or beyond for the 1st down. Darnell Autry in the backfield, still in the game. Flagged onto the play. The inside shuffle pass, and McGrew is dragged down at the 24. The play may have been whistled before it was snapped. Our official once again, our referee today, Bill McCabe.
on this lap. False start. Number 72 on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
Now they're
Still
naming
first down.
guys. Yeah. They put the finger on Kevin Peterson.
He did. And now they have to decide if this is a Big Ten SEC game or a WAC game. So maybe they'll go every other call. Bill McCade fingers the culprit right there.
3rd down and 11. Third and 11 for Northwestern. Nose of the ball resting on the 19-yard line.
Well, I think right now Northwestern look like they're shaking off some rust. You know, we talked about not playing for 6 weeks. They have to get down here Christmas Day. They practiced up in Evanston. They took 5 days off, came down here on Christmas Day, and worked in this heat. But right now they look like a disorganized unit. I know Gary Barnett is very upset with the team has played so far. They've run 8 plays on offense and only have 15 yards.
Been some shakeups in their coaching staff of late too, John. 3rd down and 11 for Northwestern. Motion up front, but no flags yet. Schnurr into traffic, incomplete to Brian Musso. He would have had a 1st down had he hung on. And Schnurr put it right there for him. Brian Musso, the son of Johnny Musso, former running back for Alabama.
Boy, this guy's a big playmaker. I mean, he had 3 4th down receptions versus Michigan, Wisconsin, and Illinois this year. They all set up winning touchdowns. He makes big plays for this team, but there he dropped the football, and he would have had enough yardage for the 1st down. Very uncharacteristic of Brian Musso.
Number 14 is Paul Burton. First team All-Big Ten in 1994. Would have led the conference in punting this year had he qualified with enough kicks. Standing on his own 7. And he drills it back to the 29. This is Terry Fair.
Well, that looked like a clip there. I'm surprised Tennessee got away with one there.
A 52-yard punt, John. 5 on the return by Fair. And don't forget, coming up after our game, it's the Rose Bowl. 14-0 right here.
Here we go, offense!
Sports coverage of the 1997 CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, brought to you by CompUSA, the computer superstore. Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Cadillac DeVille, for the time of your life. And Fidelity Investments, where more than 7 million Americans trust their retirement savings. Look at the Epcot Center, the background. Nice wide view of Orlando, Florida, where the weather has been outstanding.
There's just a few people down here at Disney World this week, aren't there? During the holiday?
Had a good time over at the ESPN Club at Disney World on the boardwalk a couple of days ago. Did some stuff with the players. Ford and Graham lining up out of the eye. Ball's on the ground. Big day tomorrow on ABC College Football. National Championship on the line. And for more, the Nokia Sugar Bowl, John Saunders and Todd Blackledge.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. It's time for the Merrill Lynch Bowl report. And here's one, Todd, that Brian Greasy probably should have eaten.
Yeah, this is where he got caught between should I throw it away or take the sack. Unfortunately, he let go of the football. Dwayne Rudd with the interception takes it all the way for a touchdown. 2 great defenses in this ball game.
Alabama leads 10-6. Mark, back to you.
All right, Gene Stallings in his last game at the helm in Alabama. Maintenance off the play fake. Overthrows his intended receiver, and a late flag thrown back at the 45. Marcus Nash was being covered by Josh Barnes, and Barnes might have gotten some uniform there. May have grabbed him.
Yeah, he did. It looks like Barnes reached out with his right hand and just grabbed a hold of the intended receiver. But I don't know if that ball was catchable. That ball was overthrown by quite a distance.
Boy, Gary Barnett has to be shaking his head. His team coming out and maybe hitting the snooze bar. They trail 14-0 early with 5:22 to play in the first quarter.
10 yards, penalty from the previous spot. First down.
They move the ball and spot it at the 43-yard line.
Right here, you can see on the right side. Now watch. Josh Barnes going to reach out with his right hand. See right there, just that little tug on the jersey is what was called. Marcus Nash, I don't believe would have caught that football. I don't believe that slowed him down at all, but a hold is a hold, especially when it's out there in the middle of the field.
Backs out of the eye on 1st and 10 now. Manning audibling at the line. He gets them into great plays, and he gets them into another one here. Complete at the 48 to Andy McCullough, the 6'3", 201-pound junior from Dayton, Ohio. And like Peerless Price, he's one of those Ohio receivers with a lot of speed, a lot of talent.
And he's one of those tall receivers that always seem to come through Tennessee. Alvin Harper, Carl Pickens, Tim McGee, Corey Fleming over the years. Now you have Marcus Nash, Joey Kent. They're all over 6 feet. They can all run. They have great body control. Tennessee is just a great university to go to if you want to play wide receiver.
Manning 6 of 8. Make that 7 of 9. Thank you very much. Out of the backfield down to the 41-yard line. Jay Graham tackled by Josh Barnes. A pickup of 10 yards and another big orange first down. They lead 14-0 with 5:05 to play in the first period. A look at some other scores from bowl action. With Neuheisel's crew got it going against Washington, coming back in that game.
Yeah, Coy Detmer finally wins a game. I guess his brother Ty had been 0 for the Holiday Bowl, so they're happy about that. Stanford all over Michigan State. Army almost came back against Auburn. That was a pretty good game.
A great year for the service academies.
Sure was. And Nebraska beating up on Virginia Tech.
Peyton Manning, 7 of 9, 119 yards, and a touchdown.
Late hit on the offense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Late hit on the offense, and Philip Fulmer is giving it to Robert Poole. The hair on the back of his neck coming up.
He sure is. He pulled him out of the game just to make his point as clear as possible.
I think Poole understands. Fulmer very understating. Somewhat soft-spoken, but certainly not that time. Look at the penalty situation today. Both teams with 2 infractions. So they push the ball back to the 44-yard line. Ford and Graham lining up out of the eye on 1st and 10. Manning has been near flawless today.
See, Northwestern getting Manning to check into an audible by showing one thing. Now they check on defense and do something else.
And they just get the playoff, and a nice play. Jay Graham plowing his way for the first down, putting the hat on Eric Collier, the safety, picking up 12 yards. Tough running by Graham.
Hey, Jay Graham had 154 yards in this game last year against Ohio State. He's been frustrated this year, has not gained the kind of yards he was used to. Some of it is his fault. Boy, just a real good cut, a great lead block up front by his fullback Chester Ford, number 20, and Graham slashing outside. He's got real good speed, but this year's been frustrating for him because of all that changes in the offensive line.
Graham was the MVP of the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl a year ago. Here's the play fake. Peyton going downtown. Incomplete for Peerless Price. John, almost similar to the play they scored on the first time.
Absolutely. I don't even know if Gerald Conaway was in the right zip code on that play. I mean, he covered him, and it looked like he expected some help deep from the safety. The help never came. And had that ball not been overthrown, it would have been another touchdown for Tennessee.
But a few gaffes by Manning today. Manning, of course, the son of Archie, who was a quarterback with New Orleans in the NFL for 14 years in all. And before that, Archie had an outstanding career at Ole Miss. A lot of tradition, football tradition in that family. Backs out of the eye, 2nd and 10. Graham picks up a couple. Downstairs to Dean for more on Manning.
Well, Mark, you mentioned Archie Manning. What a fabulous player that he was. And if there was ever a player destined to be a star quarterback, it was Peyton Manning. You know, Peyton used to listen to audio tapes of his father's college games at Mississippi. Archie had a friend who got the radio broadcasts of the games and gave them all to him. And Peyton would lay in bed at night and listen to all the games over and over and over. And he memorized all the players' names and hometowns. And I can remember as a kid doing the same thing, and if there was ever a kid predestined for stardom, it was this guy right here throwing the football.
Amen, Gene, and he throws a strike down to the 26-yard line on 3rd and 8 for the first down. Joey Kent picking up 16 yards for Tennessee. This offense is in sync.
Well, it sure is. The one nice thing about Peyton Manning, as I've stated, he's got great footwork. You know, he looks a little bit awkward because he's 6 feet 5 inches, but he moves his feet well, sets them well. He's got a nice high release and throws the football real well. Looks like we got a few video problems right now. We'll try and straighten out.
Manning is shooting the lights out. Trying to turn him back on, and we do. Apologize for the technical difficulty. Graham running off tackle over the right side, brought down by Tim Sharp. Jake Graham, the workhorse in the backfield, gaining 797 yards this year on the ground and 11 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah, the year before, though, he had 1,438 yards, and that's where he expected to really step up this year. But you know what? So many teams pick Tennessee to finish first in the country and everything else. The same thing happened with USC, Mark. These prognosticators never take a look at the offensive line. I mean, when you have turnover in the offensive line, you had 4 people leave the offensive line, 3 went to the pros. You know, you're just not going to have people step in and do great.
On 2nd and 8, the quick slant again. The pattern du jour of choice, and the receiver of choice today, Peerless Price. Another reception brought down by Barry Gardner, picking up 13 that time, and they move the sticks once again with 2:25 to play in the first quarter. Tennessee leading by a couple of touchdowns. Price has caught 3 balls today for a total of 68 yards and 1 touchdown reception. That's his real name, Peerless. One of the great names of college football this season. First down and 10 for Tennessee. They can get a first down without scoring. Kent lined up to the short side of the field, and that's him. Joey Kent, touchdown. He takes it to the house. Number 11, an 11-yard touchdown strike.
And he's working on number 11, and it's a complete mismatch right now. Joey Kent had a lot of nagging injuries this year, his knee, his hamstring. He's about 100% right now, but he puts a veteran move on a kid who's starting his first game today, and it's just, I mean, it's just a complete mismatch.
Tennessee marching down the field. And how much do they miss, Northwestern that is, Hudayfa Ismaili right now? To no disrespect, of course, of Conway, it's a function and a product of experience. You lose a junior and put a freshman in there. Jeff Hall with the extra point. Joey Kent with the touchdown. Tennessee leading.
Where does Napa keep over 200,000 different parts? Right up here. Now remember, your belt tension on this is critical. What kind of car is it? Well, I'll sell you all the struts you want, but I wouldn't recommend putting them in without the right tools. I'm sure we have it. Okay, is it a 77 or a 78? Because they changed the carburetor in 78. Actually, that's not a stupid question.
On the sidelines, he had 1,080 yards receiving this year. His second consecutive 1,000-yard season in a row. A first in the SEC. His father, Joe, was a quarterback at Alabama A&M, assistant coach.
That's right, and he prevailed upon John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, to recruit him and come to Tennessee. He didn't catch many balls in high school.
Good catch by Tennessee. Here's Beasley on the return for the Wildcats. Still on his feet out to the 28-yard line. Nice return by Beasley, brought down by Eric Lane, the backup fullback. And one more look at that touchdown catch by Joey Kent of Tennessee.
What you do is spread out an offense and you get your isolation right here. Joey Kent with Gerald Conaway. Now just watch after the catch how the veteran gets the football, sets up, gives that little move inside, and it goes back outside, gives himself enough room on the sideline. Conaway has no chance. I mean, that's isolating a defensive weakness, isolating the scheme, and then isolating the personnel and taking advantage of it. That's what Tennessee has done successfully now twice against Gerald Conaway.
And now, John, we get a look, our first look, at Adrian Autry, the other Autry, number 32 in the backfield. And he gets the carry in. Well, it's the same result. Different name, but the same result. Jeff Coleman, number 92, leading the charge for the Volunteers.
Now Coleman's going to be backing up at defensive tackle today because they are thin in the ranks there. They've had 3 injuries up front. Leonard Little, of course, their all-SEC and sack leaders. Got hurt against South Carolina. He's come back from a knee injury. Billy Ratliff got hurt. Ron Green is the most recent injury. And defensively now Tennessee can take a lot more chances with that front up front and run some twists and stunts and things like that and penetrate this Northwestern offense.
Uso in motion on the blitz. Bates, the hot receiver. And Bates is out to the 38-yard line. Near a first down, brought down by Terry Fair. Well, coming up next, folks, the Rose Bowl from Pasadena, California. The Arizona State Wildcats, Sun Devils, at 11-0, tackle the Ohio State Buckeyes at 10-1. If Arizona State wins and Florida State loses tomorrow in the Nokia Sugar Bowl, Arizona State could end up national champs.
Stanley Jackson will be starting for Ohio State. John Cooper made that announcement a couple of days ago, settled down that quarterback position between Stanley Jackson and Joe Germain.
And look at that, John. Like the previous case, Northwestern about 4 or 5 inches short of the first down again with 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Last time they went for it on 4th down. Right now it's only 3rd and 1. Look at some other results from bowl action. Mac Brown's crews had a great season, although they lost at Virginia, a game we did here on ABC. Disappointing.
Geldorf isn't playing today. Their quarterback that had such a great season hurt himself and did not play in this football game today, so they're still doing well.
A little movement up front. And Lennon littering the field.
Prior to the snap, contact by the defense, number 47, 5-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
Tyrone Hines, the middle linebacker, the team's leading tackler, a little anxious on that play.
Yeah, Hines right there, number 47, likes to play in that guard center gap. Sometimes he shoots it, sometimes he doesn't. It gives the lineman a lot to think about. That time he's just a little bit over anxious.
You see him when he crossed the line. He tried to freeze like nobody would see him. There's only 67,000 other people here, including some officials. Less than a minute to play in the first quarter. Tennessee leading 21-0, coming with the blitz. Schnurr under heavy heat. Schnurr drilled, brought down at the 33-yard line. Brown and Craig King, number 44, making the tackle.
Yeah, they finally got to him with Craig King, but there were some bodies flying around there, wasn't there? Linebackers coming up. There's a good pickup initially. Somebody went head over heels. But right now, Tennessee can play the kind of defense they want to. John Chavis, now this defense has been overlooked as one of the best defenses in the country. They're ranked number 5 in total defense.
The top defense in the SEC. Well, the first 15 minutes at the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl is in the books, and they're playing Rocky Top. Tennessee leads 21-0 when we come back.
If you are seated in section 106.
ABC Sports coverage of the 1997 CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, brought to you by CompUSA, the computer superstore, and the new Dodge. It's about change. I'm Mark Jones in the house, along with John Spagnola and Dean Blevins. Happy New Year from all of us here at ABC to all of you at home. All the best of health and prosperity in 1997. Well, Northwestern, John, playing like they got the lampshade on top of their head still from last night's party.
Not exactly a prosperous New Year so far for them.
21-0. Steve Schnurr with the ball, 2nd and 19. Incomplete out of the backfield, intended for Adrian Autry, number 32. And it'll be 3rd and long. Autry filling in right now for Darnell Autry. And just in case you joined us, Darnell woke up this morning, as reported by our Dean Blevins on the sidelines, with a temperature of close to 102 degrees. First, he was not going to start. He told the coaches he didn't think it could go. Then, just as they were coming out for their first offensive possession, he said, I'll give it a shot, which he did. But right now, it is the other Autry, Adrian, in the backfield on 3rd down and 19. 3 wide receiver set. And Schnurr slips and falls on the turf at the 23-yard line. It's been that type of afternoon so far for the Wildcats. An unproductive first 15 minutes for Northwestern offensively. A loss of 10 yards on that last play.
You know, Steve Schnurr has been rattled early in this game. He's had some balls tipped and batted, one for an interception. He's been knocked down quite a bit today. He's just not getting off to a real good start, and this Northwestern team has got to find something, perhaps a defensive turnover, to ignite this football team and get back into this game.
Paul Burton, John, standing on his own 9-yard line, one of the top punters in the Big Ten. And you can't tell by that kick.
He hit our cameraman.
He doinked our cameraman at the 46-yard line.
That man's he's a celebrity.
Well, you heard of the coffin corner. That's the camera corner. A 13-yard punt. Everyone gets a little moment in the sun, huh? Heads up. We'll be right back. Rose Bowl featuring Ohio State and Arizona State. And, John, it's going to be interesting to see how the Buckeyes react after losing in a disappointing fashion against Michigan late in the season. Last year, after losing to Michigan, they came down here to the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl and lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's been a disappointing year for them. And, you know, it's funny. You look at Ohio State with 1 loss. You look at this team today, Tennessee, with 2 losses. People shake their heads and say, you know, was it a great year? But that's you know, that's when you raise that standard as high as these programs have, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Northwestern is joining that kind of way of raising the standard and the bar that when you have more than a couple of losses, it's a disappointing year.
That's that. On the reverse, this is Dustin Moore, the tight end.
Well, he can run, can he?
Yeah, sure, it does move well. A little agility by the big tight end. Pushed out of bounds at the 35-yard line. The SEC, one of the toughest conferences in America. And one of their best, Florida, taking on Florida State in the Nokia Sugar Bowl tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. The national championship on the line in that game.
And the SEC batting 1,000 so far. If Alabama holds on and beats Michigan in their bowl games. Certainly batting 1,000 here today.
Sure are. 2nd and 7. They want to pass it, and sacked back at the 44-yard line.
That's T. Martin, the backup quarterback. He's a freshman. He's a guy who decided to come to Tennessee, actually, because he actually, as a freshman, came here because he was thinking about going to Auburn, and then he decided that, well, Damian Craig was going to probably play his career out. Peyton Manning was going to leave early, so he thought he'd take a chance and come to this game.
Well, lots of smoke down there, Dean. What's up? Well, maybe Dean is inhaling some of that smoke right now. A lot of smoke down on the field. Not sure what's happening. 3rd down and 17 for the Volunteers. Manning, plenty of time. And he fumbles it, pounces on it, and falls out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
Well, this is the first time Northwestern has stopped Tennessee today. Up till now, they were 3 for 3 on touchdowns. So maybe, you know, they didn't get a turnover defensively, but a defensive stand is certainly better than what they've had so far.
And for the first time, we hear a chorus of cheers coming from the fans wearing purple.
And there's actually more of them than there are Tennessee fans, even though Tennessee averages over 100,000 per game at home.
And that is the ever-dangerous Brian Musso back for the punt return. Larry Binion standing at his own 45. He'll try and pooch this one. Musso calls for the fair catch, lets it go over his head and into the end zone. So Northwestern will start on its own 20-yard line after that 41-yard punt by Binion. It's a volunteer type of day so far. Northwestern with 18 seniors playing in their final game for head coach Gary Barnett. Right now, it is paramount that they achieve some semblance of offensive continuity. They have the ball 1st down and 10 from the 20-yard line. 12:54 to play in the 2nd quarter. Darnell Autry, not Adrian, but Darnell, back in the ball game at tailback now.
Wildcats have run 14 plays on offense, and they only have 6 yards of total offense in this game.
Darnell Autry out near the 24-yard line. Tackled by Jason Parker. Look at Darnell, number 24. And speaking of numbers, you see that patch on their shoulder. It says Big 6. Playing with a memory today. 12.5 minutes to play. Autry, 3 carries for 1 yard. 2nd down and 6 for the Wildcats. Backs out of the eye. It's Darnell Autry again. Flags all over the field. Let's find out what that Big 6 patch is about. Dean?
Well, Mark, that's worn in honor of a fallen teammate, Marcel Price. Big 6 was his nickname, and just a horrible situation. Accidentally shot and killed in the summer of '95 in his home. That was in his hometown of Nashville. And the team wore that patch last year and then requested to wear it again this year until the time Marcel would have graduated. And many players have mentioned that he's inspired them, even though he's not been around physically, in them being so successful the past 2 years.
You know, they said Marcel is part of the thrilling victories they had when they beat Notre Dame by 1 point 2 years ago in that opener. They felt that Ron Powlus, when he tripped for the 2-point conversion, that was a tackle by Marcel Price. So they feel like he's with them in spirit, Dean, throughout this entire season and through when the period he would have graduated.
On 2nd and 1, Autry stopped up short of the 1st down. Hines making the tackle. Let's check in with John Saunders in the Big Easy. John.
Mark, it's the Merrill Lynch Bowl Report alongside Todd Blackledge. Alabama, not much offense in this one, but they get it when they need it.
Yeah, they get the big play from Sean Alexander, the big running play. Dennis Riddle and Sean Alexander, a good tandem running the football for Alabama. A lot of emotion. Gene Stallings' last football game.
46 yards on the touchdown run for Stallings. This would be win number 70 at Alabama. Back to you, Mark.
Alabama losing a great man in Gene Stallings as head coach. 3rd down and 2 for Northwestern. Quick 3-step drop complete for the 1st down. That's Dwayne Bates at the 39-yard line. The tall, rangy junior making the catch, working on Terry Fair. He picks up 11 yards on the play.
You know, the interesting thing about Dwayne Bates, too, is this is only his 2nd full year of playing wide receiver. He was recruited as a quarterback on the scout team his freshman year. He started running some patterns to help out. He did a real nice job with it, and he felt very comfortable playing wide receiver. And then, of course, last year he started to play in that position. And now, as a junior, he's playing wide receiver as well as anybody ever has for the Wildcats.
11:04 to play in the 1st half. Bates, 4 catches for 42 yards. Autry stacked up from the line of scrimmage. You know, quarterback Steve Schnurr told me a couple of days ago the pivotal point in their season was their game against the Michigan Wolverines. It was a riveting, compelling game. Lots of emotion. And Northwestern came out on top in that game. It changed their whole season, he feels. 2nd down and 9 for Northwestern. The nose of the ball resting on the 40-yard line. Brian Musso in motion to the top of your screen. Quick drop complete to Musso at the 43-yard line, 5 short of the 1st down. I was talking about that Michigan game. Here it is. With time running out, Northwestern trailing by 2. Brian Goins kicks a 39-yard field goal. They line it up, and it's good, right? Well, not quite. The referee waves it off, forced to do it again. And Goins is unfazed, undaunted, nails it a 2nd time, giving the Wildcats their biggest win of the season. They kicked it again because they'd snapped it before the play was whistled in. 3rd down and 4 now for the Wildcats. They get to the 49 for the 1st down. Darnell Autry has the 1st down, and that's the Darnell Autry we're used to seeing, running authoritatively that time out to the 39 of Tennessee, picking up 15 yards, John. Parker making the tackle.
You know, that's a beautiful job by Autry, and maybe he can inspire his football team They ran a little quick screen to him. Chad Pugh, number 77. See him there on the right side of your screen. He gets out on the right side, throws a block. There's 77 flying across the field. But this is what Autry does so well. I think he breaks tackles well. He's really strong. He's got a solid frame, 210 pounds. People bounce off of him.
And like all good actors, great improvisational skills. Brought down at the 40-yard line that time, though, by Tyrone Hines, number 47 for Tennessee.
You know, what I'm really impressed with, though, first down yardage, which is so key for any defense, Tennessee is really shutting down Northwestern. I mean, you know, everybody looks at Peyton Manning and the offense, but this defense this year for Tennessee has done an exceptional job all year. You know, they held every team they played against, with the exception of Georgia, to under their season's average offensively. So, you know, there's a defense that takes advantage of what the offense does. And large credit goes right there to John Chavis, the defensive coordinator in his second year. A lot of people question whether he should have been hired or not. They wanted a named player like Mike DuBose from Alabama, but he was hired. And then last year they gave up 62 points to Florida, and they were really getting after Chavis. But he's done an excellent job with this team.
There have been a lot of teams that have given up a lot of points to Florida. You'll see Florida and Florida State tomorrow, the No Fear Sugar Bowl on ABC. Penalty against the Volunteers, which moves the ball just inside Tennessee's 25-yard line.
Yeah, the personal foul call. It's a second one against this team today, so it gives Northwestern excellent field position.
Adrian Autry in the game. Tennessee blitzing. Bates in the end zone. Interference against the Volunteers. Raymond Austin, number 28, right there, no doubt the culprit.
Yeah, they ran the old out and up against Raymond Austin. Schnurr had some time, and he pump faked. They'd run a couple of outs and some short slants and some underneath things to the wide receiver, so that play was set up to the wide side of the field. But there is a flag again on the field. Let's see. I mean, in addition to the interference, it's offside. So right now, the Wildcats get their choice of which penalty, and they'll obviously take the interference call.
John, this is their best offensive drive so far today.
Let's look at the offsides first. It looks actually somebody lined up in the neutral zone. Bottom of the screen, that looks like Corey Terry, number 22, right there. Now let's look at Austin. You see a little bump outside, a pump fake, and another bump right there, and that's where the penalty is called.
That was bump and grind all the way.
Number 92 was lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. We have pass interference against number 28 on the defense. That penalty is 15 yards. And accepted. First down.
Okay, so I thought it was Corey Terry, 22. It's actually 92, Jeff Coleman, who was offside. So, you know, Gary Barnett is concerned, but again, this football team knows how to get back, scratch, claw its way back into football games, and they're doing that right now.
Some Northwestern fans might say right now, we've got Tennessee right where we want them.
That's exactly right.
Philip Fulmer, the brain trust on the other side of the field for Tennessee. First and goal for Northwestern. Co-champs of the Big Ten. Their first meeting ever against Tennessee. McGrew in motion. McGrew gets the call on the running play, and he falls forward, maybe gaining a yard on the play. The big senior at 6 feet, 218 pounds. From Chicago Heights, Illinois, number 45. He's filling in for Matt Hartle, who was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease earlier this season.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, that is his first carry of the year. I mean, you talk about a change-up play. Guy goes a whole year playing fullback. You don't give him a carry. You finally give him the ball, and he doesn't get a single yard out of the play. So much for the big change-up.
Yeah, good way to start 1997 for McGrew. McGrew in motion. Second and goal. Schnurr, incomplete to Bates. Yeah. And number 13, Terry Fair, was holding him like a hostage on that play.
Yeah, that's twice in that part of the field. Again, the wide side of the football field, you can get that isolation one-on-one. Now, Terry Fair is the better of the cornerbacks on this team. And he doesn't get a whole lot of attention, actually, from offenses. But again, you can see, watch Bates go for the football. There, they're bumping into one another. The field judge is behind it, sees the whole thing, and he calls the penalty on Terry Fair.
And a look at Schnurr's reaction. Says, yep, that's the way we do it.
Now, Northwestern has 7 first downs in this game. 4 have been by penalty.
Nothing wrong with a free pass once in a while.
No, not at all. I don't think that man right there wants his team to be quite so generous on this New Year's Day.
The ball resting at the 2-yard line for Northwestern and quarterback Steve Schnurr. 1st and goal. Darnell Autry in the backfield. The option. Touchdown Wildcats. He's an actor, but that was no act. That was the real thing. As Darnell Autry puts Northwestern on the board with their first 6 of the game. Playing with 102-degree temperature.
And this team never runs the option. Al Wilson comes through, just about creams Steve Schnurr, but he gets rid of the football. I watched some game tape on them. Didn't see any option plays at all. So that's a change-up for them offensively, and it works for a touchdown.
Yeah, first McGrew getting that carry, and then Autry on the options. Goins in for the extra point, and the score now stands 21-7 with 7:45 to play in the first half. To the sunny skies of Orlando. We'll be right back. Let's take a look back at last year's CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, where Tennessee dominated by this 47-yard touchdown pass. Manning to who else? Joey Kent. Ohio State made it a game late on a crucial 4th down situation. On the option, Nicky Sualua took one off the helmet. Tennessee recovers, and that's ball game. Well, Tennessee wins it 20-14. Brian Goins set to kick off. Mark Levine. Northwestern scoring moments ago on an option play. Darnell Autry took it in. They go for the onside kick.
They got to let go 10 yards.
Still loose. And the Wildcats have recovered at their own 41-yard line.
And I believe it just did go 10 yards. You see the Northwestern players were hesitant to touch it up until it went to that 10-yard period. But when a volunteer player had a chance to touch the football, it became live. Just like a punt muff at that point. If it goes beyond 10 yards, it's everybody's opportunity to get the football.
John Kevin Buck, number 9, their backup Hawk linebacker, recovers the kick.
See, the ball just doesn't quite go as fast. Everybody stays away from it. Now a Tennessee player touches it. That's number 90, Graf Corby, a wide receiver, right there. So he tries to get that football. He doesn't secure it. It slips out. Kevin Buck gets the football. And here we go with Northwestern.
So Gary Darnell, bit of a riverboat gambler.
Yeah, really going for it, 4th and 1 in his own territory, and right here.
And Darnell Autry in the backfield. The slant, incomplete, intended for Toussaint Waterman. Let's go to New Orleans with John Saunders.
Time for the Merrill Lynch Bowl Report, and Michigan not quite out of this one yet, Todd.
No, Brian Greasy does a nice job getting the ball to Shaw. Watch the move here. Michigan's 6th possession inside the Alabama 30-yard line. First time they come away with a touchdown.
They go for the 2-point conversion and get it. It is now just a field goal separating them. In the Gator Bowl, North Carolina leads West Virginia. Mark, back to you.
All right, fellas. You know, you can't sleep on Northwestern. They are used to coming back in games, although they trail right now 21-7. 2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. Schnurr snapped back at the 31-yard line. They brought the pressure. Buxton with Tennessee's 2nd sack of the afternoon. They blew him up right away.
And now Buck Buxton, number 97, is starting in place of Ron Green, who's banged up now. You're going to see pressure right on the outside there as he comes through. Nice right through. Oh, on a swim move. Boy, that's just good technique. I mean, you know, that's just bad play by an offensive guard. He gets beat right out of his stance.
3rd and 19 now. Tennessee defensively had 30 sacks this season. That's their 7th straight season with 30 or more sacks. 3rd and 19. Schnurr has time this time. Wide open and dropped near midfield. Waterman. You won't see that happen often.
Toussaint Waterman's only caught 12 passes this year, but he's really not the go-to guy in this offense, but he has reliable hands. He works real well as a blocker. And he comes wide open in the middle of the field. Schnurr finds him, and Barnett's got to be shaking his head. You know, they wasted that great opportunity that was set up by the onside kick return.
Paul Burton into punt, we think. After that onside kick, you never know. Terry Fair standing at his own 30-yard line for Tennessee. Burton shanked one already today. This one not one of his better punts either. It's a good bounce, but it'll come out to about the 28 or 29. A Northwestern player touched it right there. We'll be right back. 21-7 the score.
All across America, computers are changing people's lives, and one company is changing the way people buy them. CompUSA, with a huge selection at everyday low prices, plus computer training in more than 350 classrooms nationwide, for beginners to advanced on all the most popular applications, even the
on airship, which travels throughout the year, appearing at many exciting events across the country. Joining us with some fantastic shots today. The score 21-7, Tennessee leading with 6:34 to play in the first half. This is the first meeting ever between these two programs. And Peyton Manning has been near flawless offensively. Ball at the 29-yard line. First and 10. Manning 10 of 13 today. A couple of touchdown passes. 161 yards in all. Northwestern changing up their looks defensively. And they run it. They may even lose a yard. That's Jay Graham, brought down by Matt Rice. Don't forget, coming up next, it's the Arizona State Sun Devils against the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Rose Bowl from Pasadena. That's coming up next. Arizona State undefeated. And if they win, they have a legitimate claim to the national title.
That's Matt Rice who made the play on that last play. You know, he's such an integral part of this defense. Watch him. He lines up in the guard center gap and tries to occupy two players. That allows Pat Fitzgerald to go around unblocked and make plays and make tackles, and that's what he's so good at doing.
Second down 12. Manning complete over the middle out to the 30-yard line.
And it looks to me like they've stepped up their intensity a little bit on defense now, Mark. I think, you know, not playing in 6 weeks, this whole team is getting back into it. Now watch Rice. Watch how he occupies that gap. There's Fitzgerald behind him. Boom, the center and the guard have to account for him. Look at him push right through there. They say his motor just never stops running throughout a football game. And again, he's trying to keep people free for Fitzgerald. But I like the intensity I've seen in these first two plays here now in the fifth drive for Tennessee.
And they've made it 3rd and long, Northwestern has now for Tennessee. 3rd and 9. Manning flushed out of the pocket. Flag down at the 26-yard line. And the pass complete at the 42 to Peerless Price, picking up 12 yards. But will it stand? Here's the call. It's against the Volunteers.
Well, we've seen 7 first downs, 4 by penalty offensively for the Wildcats. Now they get a first down denied to Tennessee by penalty. Mistakes are hurting Tennessee right now in this football game. 8 penalties for 78 yards.
Number 75 on the offense. 5-yard, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the third down.
It's the old 5-yard, 10-yard penalty right there. Mercedes Hamilton, the right guard, number 75. He's lined up right here, Mercedes Hamilton, who has started the last 3 games, getting a push. See, now the stunt and the twist affects him. He's trying to zone block that. He actually falls back. And you know what? Officials call that a lot. When an offensive lineman falls back and people stumble over him, they automatically assume that there's a hold and that it's a takedown. And that's not always the case. From watching that, I wouldn't say he necessarily held on that play.
3rd and Lake Okeechobee to go. And Manning goes down at the 8-yard line.
Same problem that Steve Schnurr had. Dropping back on 3rd down and slipping and falling. So this was a backwards offense for Tennessee. You know, keep in mind with the rules this year, you have to use small spikes. If you don't, you get thrown out of the football game. These are 1/4-inch spikes. It's a low-cut field. There's a little bit of dew on it from the humidity. And Manning falls down. He usually has pretty good footwork, and there's no crown on that field either because they have a soccer plate here.
Binion with a low line drive punt fielded by Musso at the 43. Brian Musso puts Northwestern in auspicious field position at the 31-yard line. A 12-yard return by Musso on that 34-yard punt. Hines making the tackle for Tennessee.
You know, we talked about comebacks now for Northwestern. They were 10 points down against Indiana. They beat them. 16 down to Michigan. They beat them. Remember the Wisconsin game? Ron Dane puts the ball on the ground. They have no timeouts left. Northwestern, 2-play drive in 47 seconds. They win that football game. They beat Illinois with a TD with 1:02 remaining. This team knows how to play in close football games, and they know how to come from behind. 5 of their 9 victories this year, Mark, have been by 4 points or less. They want to get this one close now.
Barnett watching from the sidelines, his team 1st and 10. Schnurr. Incomplete, intended for Musso at the 22-yard line. And number 13, Terry Fair, really close on the ball.
That's exactly right. He made a great break on the football. That play was there initially. It was set up well. He diagnosed it, and, you know, that's what they call closing speed in a cornerback. And that's when they recognize what's going on. They can get there, and he knocked that football away.
Sets up 2nd down and 10 from the 31-yard line. Northwestern falling under the spotlight, both regionally in the Chicago area and nationally as a result of his works. Coach Barnett. Tennessee blitzing. Schnurr finds Bates. Run out of bounds to the 25, about 5 yards short of the 1st down. Downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Mark, you mentioned the popularity of Gary Barnett. You know, in the past couple of years, he's gone from a virtual unknown to one of the most popular coaches in all of college football. An example, he and Pat Fitzgerald on this week's TV Guide. And Gary Barnett told us in our meeting the other day that he has about 160 requests for him to speak. Apparently a great motivational speaker. This guy's more than just a good-looking, charismatic guy. He is a great motivator. He communicates. He inspires. And I thought his answer in regard to the Notre Dame opportunity or potential opportunity, saying, you know, the best job is not what other people perceive to be the best job, but what you perceive to be the best job. I thought that made all the sense in the world.
He held our attention. Thanks a lot, Dean. He held our attention well during our meetings. 3rd and 3. Musso complete near the marker, and he'll have the 1st down at the 20-yard line with 4:04 to play in the 1st half.
You know, one of the things that Dean talked about, master motivator, you know, he reminds me of George Allen, and he admitted as such. I had the pleasure of meeting George Allen. He was my training camp once with the Eagles, and you know, he said, I said, week to week, how do you get your players up? And he said, I try to capture the essence of the game each week and explain it to my players. I said, what happens if there's nothing there? He says, then I create a crisis. So he'll write little notes to his players. He'll pull them aside. He does little things to try to keep the interest of his players week in and week out.
And he says you grow only from stress. They're putting some stress on the defense, but it's incomplete, intended for Bates in the end zone. And it'll be 3rd down now. Terry Fair in on the coverage.
Yeah, and they're also double covering. Terry Fair underneath. Jason Parker came over the top, the safety. Right now, Dwayne Bates has been the go-to guy in this offense, so they're going to take him out of the offense and see if Brian Musso or Toussaint Waterman can beat them in the passing game right now. It's a good move defensively by John Chavis.
Got to get to the 10-yard line, Northwestern does, for the 1st down. Check that now. The clock had it wrong. It's now 2nd down and 10. They're 9 of 16. Tennessee coming with pressure. Musso. And Musso will take it to the house. Touchdown, Wildcats.
Oh, what a move.
Boy, he stopped on a dime and didn't leave Tennessee any change. That was a move by Musso.
Well, they're taking away Dwayne Bates. They bring the blitz. Brian Musso, number 22, lined up right here. He's going to slant in. That's a hot adjustment. But watch what he does after he catches the football. He knows where the coverage is coming from. He knows where he's going to get hit. And both safeties are left grasping at air. Torrey Noel and Jason Parker didn't even get a hand on Brian Musso.
Goins with the extra point. Low snap. They get it down, and We told you moments ago, don't sleep on Musso or the Wildcats. They trail by just a touchdown now. ABC Sports coverage of the 1997 CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl brought to you by CompUSA, the computer superstore. And Merrill Lynch, for clients around the world, we make a difference. The difference is Merrill Lynch. I'm Mark Jones, along with Dean Blevins and John Spagnola. Northwestern marching back, starting to make some noise under the mist. Cooling off on the sidelines. They trail by just 7 now.
You know, Tennessee gained 199 yards in the first quarter, taking that 21-0 lead mark. Second quarter, minus 10 yards. Northwestern scores 2 touchdowns, and they're right back in this football game.
You know, the Tennessee coaches mentioned to us that they had to fight the perception of Big Ten teams like Northwestern being big, but a little bit on the slow side. That's not necessarily the case. Loose ball at the 20. Tennessee picks it up. And the momentum swinging towards the purple. National title hopes on the line tomorrow in New Orleans at the Superdome. Florida State, the Seminoles, led by Warwick Dunn, against Florida and Heisman Trophy winner Danny Werfel. The Nokia Sugar Bowl tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And what about the war of words between the two coaches? Bobby Bowden said it best. He says, hey, they send out 5 receivers. We're bringing 6. Somebody's going to get hit.
Somebody's going to get. I love that answer. And Spurrier likes to draw him up and get people out downfield, but he does not protect his quarterback. Nebraska realized that last year in that national championship game. And of course, in Tallahassee, that same thing happened. Now, John, you can hear the gang that has traveled from Evanston, Illinois. Jay Graham, light feet, showing some agility out to the 33-yard line, about 2 yards short of the first down. Eric Gardner, number 55, making the tackle along with Collier for Northwestern. Collier, the leader in the secondary back there, a 6'1", 213-pound senior from Dixon, Illinois, an organizational studies major. And when you look at the majors, John, of these Northwestern players, biochemical engineering, nuclear physics, it's kind of daunting. They're not taking rocks for jocks, I know that.
These guys are splitting atoms. Fumble. Northwestern takes it back. Flags down. Northwestern has the ball once again in Tennessee territory. Mike Nelson, number 26, recovered the fumble after Tim Sharp made the hit. The officials sorting out the flag. And they'll tack on some more yardage against Tennessee as the result of a face mask.
Jay Graham's the ball carrier. Gets the ball on the right side. There's a good opening. He has a first down here. And right there, that ball is knocked loose. Dewan Dubose, number 88, gets a hand on. That's when it starts to come out. And there you see the face mask on Mike Nelson. Right there, let's see if somebody gets a hand on the inside there. No, actually, it's Tim Sharp, number 52. And the question is, let's take another look at that. Were his knees down on the ground as that ball started to come out? Looked awfully close. Maybe we can get another look at that.
Much to the dismay and chagrin of Phil Fulmer. One more slow look, John.
Okay, let's see. Let's keep it real. Now, again, this is how that ball. Now, his knees are down. Look where the ball is right now. Does he have control of it? Knees down, ball in his hands. Now it starts to come out. Certainly the referees ruled it was on its way out, and it's a legitimate turnover.
Northwestern Wildcats poised and ready to pounce on the opportunity after this timeout. Timeout on the field called by Northwestern. And while we catch our breath, we'll check in with some more stellar programming on ABC.
Politically Incorrect is coming to ABC late night, but tonight, Bill Maher takes on prime time.
What about a little free plug, my little friend? But you said, well, I know it was between 10 and 10:30 because I was watching the Larry Sanders show.
Hit Politically Incorrect's greatest hits, ABC tonight.
Friday, cigars are in. They're sexy, glamorous, manly. But does not inhaling equal not hazardous? What's the price you pay for all that fun? It's Your Health on ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Steve Schnurr, the senior quarterback, one of numerous seniors playing their last game for head coach Gary Barnett.
You know, it's interesting about Schnurr. Look at all the people who grabbed. These are the people who came in, and Gary Barnett basically sold them a bill of goods. Said, you know, I know we've lost. No, we haven't had a winning season here since 1971. That's all going to change. And, you know, many coaches have come through that, Evanston, Illinois, and said the very same thing. These players believe, led by Pat Fitzgerald and Steve Schnurr and everybody else on that list. And he honored them yesterday at the lunch, made them stand up and wave to everybody at the luncheon we had yesterday with the CompUSA people.
And is it hot down on the sidelines? What do you think? Even our Dean Blevins is working up a good lather down there. Last time we checked in with him, he'd done one of those antiperspirant commercials. Brian Musso flanked out. McGrew in motion. This is Darnell Autry. You think he's feeling okay? You think he's feeling okay?
He's feeling a lot better right now.
28 yards on the run, and another Northwestern touchdown, just like that. Well, he's got a 102-degree temperature, so yeah, you could say he's on fire. The tide has turned in a huge way in favor of the Wildcats. Goins in to tie the game for Northwestern. Tennessee jumped out to a 21-0 lead. Northwestern has stormed back with 3 consecutive scores. The last one by Autry.
Watch Mike McGrew right here, number 45. He's faking to the right. He comes back to the left. It's a counter tray play. He's actually that backside tackle in that play, and Darnell Autry comes right through. Great blocking up front, and he powers through. Now, the counter tray you can do with a tackle or guard, C45. He gets behind the guard. The guard throws a great block. He comes right through, and Darnell Autry squirts through for a touchdown. What a heroic effort by Darnell Autry. Not expected to play in this game, not expected to do much of anything in this football game, and he has helped ignite this football team and get him back in the game.
Autry, no doubt, drinking a lot of fluids, intaking a lot of liquids on the sidelines.
And I wonder if he'll take an IV at halftime, try to get even more fluids into his system that much more quickly.
John Northwestern with 2 touchdowns in the last 1 minute and 1 second. 3 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes and 18 seconds. And a scoring orgy of sorts by Northwestern. Fielded at the 13. Brought down at the 33 is Eric Westmoreland. With 2:19 to play in the first half, Tennessee started off with a 21-0 lead, and we're knotted at 21.
You know, it's been a tale of 2 quarters, too, for the Volunteers. Peyton Manning, was 13-20 in the first quarter, with the 2 touchdown passes. Only 1 of 8 in the second quarter. And frankly, they've gone away from throwing the football here in the second quarter. I don't really understand why.
That last fumble didn't help their cause on the run either, John. 4 receivers out for the Volunteers. 2:19 to play in the half. Manning to pass. Is it complete? No. He picked it up off the grass at the 45. Joey Kent, the intended receiver. Dean, the tide has really changed, hasn't it?
Well, it has, and there's a major mood swing going on, but really it's more in the stands than on the Northwestern sideline. You know, the Northwestern bunch is a seasoned group, a veteran bunch, and they didn't lose their composure when they fell behind. And I tell you what, the people in screen right end zone are really excited because every point, all 42, scored in that end zone.
Good point.
That's why we have you down there, Dean, to figure out things like that for us.
On the blitz, Northwestern bringing it. Picked up. And you know what? Joey Kent has got quick.
He's going to cut it back.
Joey Kent turns the blitz into a Tennessee touchdown. 67 yards, and Peyton Manning picked it up and delivered it.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, there he is with Collier right there, who came on the blitz. And Peyton Manning held that football till the last possible second and allowed Joey Kent to get as free as possible in the pass pattern. 12 for 16, 231 yards, and just like that, the Volunteers take the lead. Watch 33 on the right side. Eric Collier, look, he comes right through on the blitz. He gets tripped a little bit. Manning stands tall in the pocket, delivers the football to Joey Kent. Joey Kent gets some blocks downfield, makes a nice cutback right here. Peerless Price helped him 37. And he's into the end zone. There's an unsportsmanlike penalty that was called against Tennessee, obviously for excessive celebration. And that will, of course, be assessed after the kickoff, and we have an injured player on the field.
Yeah, John, that's Mercedes Hamilton, number 75 for Tennessee.
You know, so many times you hear people say, oh, why are they playing a prevent with 2 minutes left and this and that? I mean, this time Northwestern comes with the blitz. Remember, Jerry Brown is calling defenses for Northwestern. He took over for the prior defensive coordinator, Ron Vanderlinden, who's now the head coach at Maryland, as Hamilton gets helped off the football field. So there's a little bit of a change in that defensive staff for Northwestern. It's a good change. When you have success, coaches get an opportunity to move on and get jobs elsewhere.
And Philip Fulmer himself, a former assistant coach at Tennessee.
Yeah, you think the WAC officials have anything to do with this? I mean, you know, they're so used to these high-scoring games.
They've seen a few shootouts. Jeff Hall with the extra point attempt. And the Volunteers recapturing the lead at 28-21 with 1:50 to play in the first half. And I guess Northwestern just doesn't feel comfortable unless they're trailing. They gave it right back.
They said, okay, let's see if we can get back in. Yeah, we can get back in. Okay, let's fall behind again. It's an amazing team. If you followed this team for the last 2 years, you've got to be on some sort of heart medication, I would think.
And don't forget, the college football extravaganza continues on ABC tomorrow night, January 2nd, 8 Eastern from New Orleans in the shadows of Bourbon Street. Florida State against Florida. That's 11-0 against 10-1. Part 2, the rematch. If Florida State wins, they could be the national champs. And that was the thermometer you saw as they were just checking Darnell Autry's temperature, and we're told that his temperature is down to 98.4, so I guess that touchdown run cooled him off a little bit, John.
Either that's what they're telling him. Maybe it's a lot higher than that. Hey, you're fine. Oh, yeah, you know what? I think you worked the fever out. You're doing fine. Just go back in there and keep scoring touchdowns.
Jeff Hall set to kick off, and he'll kick off from his own 20-yard line as a result of the unsportsmanlike conduct infraction. David Beasley and Josh Barnes standing at their 15. This will be Beasley. Beasley almost got through that initial wave of tacklers in the wedge.
Well, he sure did. Sometimes you expect impact and it never comes, and your body lean just takes you over and you fall down.
Fell forward to the 39-yard line, so Northwestern with a chance still to put some points on the board before the end of the first half with 1:51 to play in the first half, and they trail by 7 points. Steve Schnurr has had a fantastic second quarter. A panoramic view of the Citrus Bowl here in Orlando. Sold out, over 66,000 people on hand. And in the backdrop, the skyline of Orlando. Darnell Autry, 98.4 degree temperature now, or so we're told. So Darnell may have been told. Tyrone Hines making the tackle for the Volunteers. It's been an exceptional week, a great week here. The Florida Citrus Bowl Committee and the sponsors have treated us extremely well. Top USA people. Pass incomplete. Stops the clock with 1:27 to play in the first half. Jonathan Brown tipping the ball at the line of scrimmage. The season started off in a very unpropitious way for Northwestern. They stumbled out of the gate losing at Wake Forest, and then they went on a nice roll, John.
Yeah, they sure did, and everybody said after that first game out, it's just a one-year wonder for this football team. They strung together 7 wins, and they were just manhandled by Penn State. That was their only other loss of the year. And with one loss in the Big Ten, they're co-champions along with Ohio State.
3rd and 9. Schnurr had a little too much on that, and Brian Musso couldn't hang on to it. It's incomplete, and Tennessee will get the ball back with 1:21 to play in the first half. Musso, telling us earlier, told me that he spent his Christmas holidays, John, with his relatives and his father, Johnny, down in Alabama.
Yeah, you know what? I thought, Schnurr set this up. Watch how he comes through the pocket, and everything's set up real well for him. And it seems to me, as Musso goes through, he's got an opportunity to run right here. Instead, he elects to throw it across. Really too hard for Musso to handle. Brian Musso, yeah, he said what everybody was kissing him and poking him, squeezing him, all his
Italian
relatives and everything.
Said his cheeks were all sore afterwards.
I read one place where he said if he could change one thing about the world, he said all girls would have a southern accent. Brian Musso's a very handsome, engaging man. He's playing great football here for the Wildcats.
There is. Burton gets off a better punt this time, drilling it back to the 15. And Fair runs out of bounds, stopping the clock with 1:11 to play, which is plenty of time when you have a quarterback like Peyton Manning. 44-yard punt, 2 yards on the return by Fair as Peyton Manning gets set to take the field one more time. He wasn't on the field for a long time on the last possession. One pass, touchdown, and out. BYU leading Kansas State. We saw BYU in the WAC championship game, John. An exciting win over Wyoming. Game you saw on ABC. And Mercedes Hamilton, with the aid of crutches, coming off the field and into the locker room. And we'll get a report from Dean Blevins shortly. Graham, the lone back, 4 receivers out on 1st and 10. Manning checking. Movement up front, flags down. Let's go downstairs to Dean for an injury report.
There you see Hamilton hobbling off, left ankle sprain. They don't believe it's serious enough to x-ray, but they are going to look at it at half and see if he can come back for the second half.
Looks like he's walking gingerly on that. Brent Gibson, number 51, will take over at that right guard position for Tennessee. That's Fitzgerald, number 51 for Northwestern. That's the 11th penalty for 107 yards. There's Brent Gibson, who actually started 8 games this year at center. He got bumped out when Trey Teague moved from left tackle to center. So he's an experienced player.
First down and 15 after the penalty. Handed off. Oh, look at this running. Jake Graham collared and finally brought down near the first down marker. Pick up a 14 on the play. Leary making the tackle. As we are under a minute to play now in the first half. Tennessee leading by 7 points over Northwestern. Jake Graham last year was the offensive MVP here in the Comp USA Florida Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, he had a 154 yards rushing. They're resetting the clock on the field right now. 154 yards rushing, and he had a 69-yard touchdown that tied the score at 7-7. And they're adding some time to the clock right now. That's 59 seconds left.
You know, you watch Peyton Manning pass today, John, and he's been extremely accurate. Think about the way both he and Schnurr threw at our banquet, at our luncheon a couple of days ago. They were giving out door prizes, and our quarterbacks, respectively, were throwing out passes into the crowd and overshot their receivers.
They were
both times.
0 for 4. They took out some china, some crystal, few silverware. It was not a pretty sight.
A few chandeliers.
Yeah, right.
Tennessee among the top programs in the country. And among the top programs, winning percentage-wise, in the 90s. Winning 78%, .786.
Yeah, it's funny about that, too, is that here, you know, Florida State's won the most games, Florida the 3rd most, and that's what they're ranked this year. 1 and 3. So
we'll see those two teams tomorrow at 8 Eastern time in the Nokia Sugar Bowl here on ABC. National championship on the line. Coach is talking a lot of smack in that one, too. 2nd and 1 for Tennessee. Manning to the short side of the field. And it's ruled complete for the first down at the 29-yard line. Out of the backfield came Mark Levine, the 2nd-string tailback, who made the catch. Move the chains and stop the clock with 54 seconds to play in the first half. A lot of offense here in the first 30 minutes. Manning once more finds a seam in the zone, lacerating that secondary out to the 45-yard line. Joey Kent making the catch, picking up 16 yards, another first down. Collier making the tackle, the strong safety.
And that's what that's what's so great about these wide receivers. They are so athletic going for the football. Joey Kent, Marcus Nash, both have great body control when they catch that football.
Kent, 4 catches today for 110 yards. Manning on the money again, complete. Another first down, stopping the clock with 36 seconds to play in the first half. That was Marcus Nash, who really emerged this year, John, as a great alternative and complement to Joey Kent.
Yeah, he's number 9 in career yards already. What I like is his change in direction. I mean, this is a simple out pattern. He's going against Faraji Leary, number 37. You know, this is just a 2-yard pattern. Watch him accelerate after the football. Leary has the angle and says, oh my gosh, no, I don't have the angle on him because of the acceleration of Marcus Nash. And that's another first down for Tennessee.
The junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma. 36 seconds to play in the first half. The ball in the Northwestern 45. They fake the draw complete. Peyton Manning is in rhythm, folks. Down to the 29-yard line, a 16-yard pickup. Andy McCullough, the 6'3 junior, making the catch.
You know, Manning took a play from the Purdue handbook. Watch how this action freezes the linebacker. See how number 51 Fitzgerald steps up? That opens up the lane behind for the throw. Great call by Tennessee.
They are now within field goal range for Hall. Manning gets him a little closer with that completion. He is slicing and dicing that secondary. Levine making the catch. Tack on 12 more yards to number 16's total.
Boy, Manning came over all excited, calling timeout.
This guy is like a rock star in Tennessee. I'm telling you, there are so many babies that have been born, that have been named Peyton in the last couple of years, and he's so famous that even this week, John, he had police and bodyguards escorting him to practice every day to guard against agents and professional autograph hounds.
Yeah, they even named a baby giraffe after him in a zoo in Tennessee. I mean, you know you've hit the big time when they start naming animals after you and stuff. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and what's amazing about him is even though he comes from the football background and his father, of course, is a famous quarterback and everything else, you know, this is a guy that's got his head on his shoulders. He's going to graduate in 3 years. He's just driven to do all the things he wants to do at a better level than anybody else.
And no, when we put our heads together, we come up with some pretty good reasons as to why he should stay in the school. Number 5 for the junior, as you mentioned, he's graduated.
Hey, he doesn't have to go to class anymore, right? So he can just stick around and have some fun.
Very great reason for me. Sometimes you don't have to graduate to not go to class either. Number 4, hey, they get another shot at Florida if he comes back with a chance to beat them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that sticks in his craw a little bit.
And number 3, offensive firepower. Lots of it returning, John.
Yeah, that whole offensive line and a lot of skill people are coming back next year, and that's something you have to consider.
And the second reason why Peyton Manning should come back, shot at the Heisman Trophy. And number 1, chance to win a national title, something that he has always dreamed about. Peyton Manning living out his football fantasy today on the field. Collier was hurt on the last play. He comes out of the game for Northwestern. 1st and 10. Pass broken up nicely on the corner. That was number 26, Mike Nelson, coming in to break it up. It was intended for Nash.
And that's a mismatch normally when you have a safety going against a wide receiver. But Mike Nelson read the pattern and drove that thing quickly. And I'm sure Tennessee's thinking he's getting a little bit aggressive. They don't have much time left, but an out and up would be a great call at this time.
We'll see what they do on the next play. It'll be 2nd down and 10 with 15 seconds to play in the first half. Tennessee leads 28-21.
That was Manning's first incompletion in this drive. He's 5 for 6 in this drive.
He's human after all. 4 receivers on this set. Manning on the post. Incomplete. No flag on the play. Intended for Peerless Price. And Gerald Conway being picked on time and again this afternoon. This time equal to the challenge.
Peerless Price with the speed on this team. Go one-on-one right here. He's going to run a slant in. Let's see if we see any contact by Gerald Conaway. He's breaking over the middle. There's a little grab on the right side. The official doesn't see it, and I don't think it's enough to call right there, although Peerless Price disagrees with me.
Does he ever? In to attempt the field goal from 35 yards out is Jeff Hall, 10 of 18 on the year. Take one more look at that last play, John.
From the other side, let's see what happens with the right hand. You know, it's on his hip, but that certainly isn't enough to warrant an interference call. You know, give credit to Conway. Here's a guy who's burned 2 times early in this game, comes back and makes a very big play in his first start as a redshirt freshman.
Hall coming in to kick this field goal now. Here's a guy who struggled early this season, got off to a very rough start, missing 5 of 11 field goals. And he's had some back problems. And in maybe a medical first, an orthopedic surgeon, John, and a chiropractor have worked together on his therapy, and now he might not require surgery at the end of the season. Of course, chiropractors and orthopedic surgeons kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, medically speaking.
That is true. But, I mean, when you have that kind of disc problem, especially in the lower back, I mean, the kicking is, especially soccer-style kickers, it's so much depends on the torque of that lower body, and that must really aggravate him and hurt him a great deal.
Coming up next on ABC, the Rose Bowl, Ohio State against the Arizona State Sun Devils from Pasadena, California. Brent Musburger, Dick Vermeil, and Jack Arute calling the action for you. 10 seconds to play in the first half. And it appears that if Tennessee will go for the first down. Manning in the ball game. So Hall staying on the sidelines. Peyton Manning, 12 pounds, 1 ounce at birth, has blossomed to 6'5", 218 pounds. John, we've really canonized him today, and deservingly so with his numbers. Some of his critics say that he's a little bit on the slight side, and that's the reason why he should come back next year.
Well, I think he should come back simply because he should talk to Heath Schuler and find out what happened with him after his junior year. Just 3 years ago, he played in this game here, came out after the Penn State game. But I think, you know, you can't get the kind of repetitions and quality work you can get in college. And I think he could still develop his skills as a quarterback, but it's awfully hard to turn down that money. I mean, you know, you're talking probably $20 million and some sort of package. Even though there's a rookie salary cap in the NFL, you still have escape clauses and things like that. And that's got to be weighed in that whole decision that he's going to make.
Look at those gaudy offensive numbers for Tennessee. 340 total offensive yards today. Most of them coming via the pass and the arm of Peyton Manning.
You know, just to understand what's happening on the field here, the Wildcats called back-to-back timeouts. They're expecting a field goal. They wanted to ice the kicker, Jeff Hall. Then Peyton Manning came off on the field. They weren't prepared defensively, so they had to call timeout again to go with their regular defensive unit. So we're finally getting back in some action here with 10 seconds left.
That's a little chess match between the two coaches as well. 10 seconds to go in the half. 3rd and 10. Manning into the end zone. Flag down, incomplete. They were working on number 11 again, Conway.
Yeah, but, you know,
Price.
It's not really a bad penalty by Conaway, because if he lets the ball get caught, it's a touchdown. There's only 4 seconds left. This definitely puts Tennessee in a situation where they either have to kick a field goal or go for it now and possibly wind up with no points. Conaway beaten deep. Tries to recover. He never looks for the football. He would have had a chance to play it, but he didn't want to take that chance, and I actually think this is a very good move on his behalf. Certainly beats turning around and getting beat for a touchdown. And again, it puts this team in field goal range, and they're going to have to decide, do they go for a touchdown, because this will definitely be the last play of the half, or do they kick a field goal? And now Tennessee is going to take its last timeout and figure that out.
Both teams without timeouts remaining now in the first half, burning their respective 3. Manning going to the sidelines. And John, you mentioned it's hard to turn down the money. When you talk about money, keep in mind that Peyton's father, Archie, has taken out a $5 million insurance policy on Peyton, and the term of the contract is for 2 years. Although Archie says don't read into the 2-year term too much, because he leaves the door open that Peyton might decide to go after this year. They're going to sit down and talk about things after this ball game.
Yeah, Archie's collecting a lot of information. People were incredulous to learn that over the Christmas holidays, this discussion did not take place about whether Peyton would turn pro or not. They said they're just going to hold everything off. He's gathered information. He's talked to scouts, and they're going to make a decision in short order. Manning doesn't really have to make the decision, though, until late April, because he is scheduled to graduate, and that's kind of a new wrinkle in there as well. But I don't think he's going to hold his team back and not make a decision as soon as possible.
Do you recognize that guy, that character? That's the Grinch. He didn't get my Christmas. I don't know about yours. And the Cat in the Hat with those very fashionable, in vogue hats right now. Celebration of Dr. Seuss, the pomp and pageantry coming up at halftime, as is our John Saunders from New Orleans. The side of the Nokia Sugar Bowl coming up tomorrow at 8 Eastern time on ABC. Florida against Florida State. And now Jeff Hall comes into the game to attempt the field goal for Tennessee. They're calling it a 19-yarder. Hall 10 of 18 on the season out of the hold of Jason Price. And he knocks it between the steel. So the Volunteers take a 10-point lead into the locker room at halftime. A lot of points on the board in the first 30 minutes. More to come in the next 30. We'll return with more action between Tennessee and Northwestern after this match.